Delanco Township Committee meeting of September 11th, 2023, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Delanco Township Municipal Building, 770 Coopertown Road, Delanco, New Jersey.
Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Delanco Township Committee meeting for September the 11th, 2023. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Bartlett?
Here.
Mr. Olette?
Here.
Ms. Seuss?
Here.
Mr. Templeton?
Here.
Ms. Fitzpatrick?
Here. Also present, Mr. Schwab, our Township Administrator, Mr. Fox, our Township Engineer, Mr. Heinhold, our Township Solicitor, Mrs. Russell, our Deputy Municipal Clerk, Mr. Fenimore, Superintendent of Public Works, and Ms. McFadden, our Administrative Assistant. Would you please join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Beth, would you please read the sunshine statement?
Yes. Please be advised that proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act in the following manner. Written notice has been mailed to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post and published in the January 4th, 2023 editions. Written notice has been posted on the official bulletin board of the Township of Delanco at least 48 hours prior to this meeting.
Thank you, Beth. At this time, we will have a moment of silence in memory of the victims of 9/11, 23 years later, 22, and also in honor of all those who did survive and have lived with those memories. But before the moment of silence, I don't know if you know that the Delanco Fire Department has a memorial out there that has a piece of the steel from one of those buildings, and if you haven't visited, you definitely should. I know Bob Hubler put it on Facebook again, the pictures and everything. It's really something what they did there. So anyway, let's have a moment of silence in memory of the victims, since we shall vowed never to forget. Thank you. The first item on our agenda is Ordinance 2023-14, Ordinance authorizing the installation of various capital improvements in and for the Township of Delanco, County of Burlington, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $90,000 therefore from the Capital Improvement Fund. This is the second reading by title only and the public hearing for Ordinance 2023-14. So the meeting is open to the public for any questions, issues, concerns. Okay, there being none, I'll close this portion of the meeting to the public and ask for a motion to approve Ordinance 2023-14.
So moved.
Second.
Carolyn, Mike, roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes.
Mr. Olette?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick?
Yes. Ordinance 2023-15 is an ordinance amending Chapter 110 of the Code of the Township of Delanco to modify and amend the I-3 Modified Industrial Zone with regard to distribution facilities. This is the second reading by title only, and the public hearing is set for set for, I guess, the next meeting. It says the public hearing is scheduled for...
This is the public hearing.
Oh, okay. I'm
Like the
confused.
previous one, yeah.
All right, sorry. Okay, so the meeting is open to the public for Ordinance 2023-15. There is the report that the Master Plan Consistency Review by the Joint Land Use Board did approve it. So anyone from the public have any questions on Ordinance 2023-15? Okay, there being none, I'll close this portion of the meeting to the public. And is there a motion for 2023-15?
So moved.
Second.
Vern Olet and Matt Bartlett, roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
Mr. Olet.
Yes.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes.
Mr. Templeton.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes. Okay, meeting is now open to the public for any comments and questions, session 1. Anyone from the public? Okay, there being no comments or questions from the public, I'll close this portion of the meeting to the public. Comments and reports, professionals. So let's go to Doug first.
We have talked about this in executive session under attorney-client and pending litigation, but just for the benefit of the public, the township has been named in a lawsuit relative to a challenge to the I-3 zoning, which seeks to address the warehousing problem in town. We are in communication with the entities. There's 2 corporate entities that have challenged it. We're in communication with them to see if there is some common ground that we could resolve, but we will keep you posted as to the litigation as it proceeds. I just wanted to make sure it was noted for the record. And other than that, I don't have anything else for our public tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Doug. Harry?
Thank you, Mayor. The 2023 road programs, the local aid as well as the township road program, that's out to bid, and the bid opening is scheduled for September 28th. For both of those projects, they're combined into one project. And we can award them, assuming everything's in order and it's within the budget. We can award that on the October 2nd meeting. So hopefully they get good bids on that. And right now, we are receiving some pretty favorable bids, so hopefully that holds up, but you never know. The Zubu seawall, that's a discussion item, so we can take care of that at that point. The town hall parking lot and Philippine access road, we're starting design and we're looking to, if everything goes smoothly and we review it with Richard and John, we can award that at the November meeting. The reason why we want to award that later than the road program, if you recall, I mentioned it during the last meeting. We're looking at possibly, if the bids come in really well for the road program, we could take some of that money and put it towards paving up in the north end where the public service gas line is through. If not, we can see how much money we actually have and maybe combine that in with this paving project, which is the parking lot and the Philippines driveway. So we're going to wait and see how the bids come in for the road program, and then we can revise the bid pretty quickly to add in another road if we want to add another road. Field G as well, everything is done on that, except the restoration from TLC, and we're waiting for the public service connection. There was some confusion on the cut card, apparently. The public service now has a cut card, and they're sending an inspector out within the next couple of days.
Okay.
Once he gets out there, then the construction department will contact me with a schedule when we go into actually make the connection.
Good, we need that.
Yeah, especially after that last week.
Right.
Luckily, we did get some rain and it pulled back pretty well. I am going to meet with John tomorrow, John Dunmore, and look at the existing irrigation system closer. What I really want to check is the valves and the settings of the valves that are out there, existing ones. I have a feeling there's some issues with those as well. So we are going to check into that tomorrow.
Good.
The Babe Ruth Park, we discussed last meeting I was at, whether to put a concrete or asphalt walkway. If you recall, that's the walkway that's going to go from the parking lot over to the baseball field.
Right.
I did speak with Steve Lennon from Taylor Design, they're the ones that did the application and whatnot. He's still strongly suggesting concrete, and his reason is aesthetics.
Right.
He doesn't feel, and you know, that's exactly what it said. That the asphalt will look as nice as the concrete. My feeling is he's correct. Concrete will look better, especially on a narrow path. But I'm concerned about John's concerns about driving over it. So, Steve and I are going to meet, and I was going to find out if John's available, and the three of us can go out there
Right.
and take a look at it. Steve is even mentioning moving it out to the roadway possibly, instead of running through the park, because there's no sidewalk on the roadway. So we'll look at that. And
That would be better.
That would be definitely better.
Then it wouldn't affect your driving on it, right?
yeah, exactly.
It may add some additional cost. Yeah. All
I like
right.
that idea.
We'll be looking at that sometime this week
Okay, good.
when John's going. And that's all I have, man.
Okay, good. Anybody have any questions for Harry? Okay. Richard?
Okay, thank you. In terms of my report, believe it or not, the 2024 budget request letter is going to be coming out this week. It's hard to believe. It's moving along. So the department heads, the various organizations get that, start working on it. Try to get things into me by the middle of November, early December, so we can start thinking ahead. So that's really all I have. And I am going to give you a brief police report that neither chief or lieutenant could be here tonight. I think they passed it on to you that the newest patrolman has completed the field training and is now assigned on the road. So we've increased the number of people out there. Sergeant Maloney completed a 2-day advanced firearms training course. The chief and I interviewed a special law enforcement officer for potential hiring, so we're moving forward with that, and we'll let you know for next week's meeting if we're ready for an appointment to have somebody who would be willing to work as a hourly full-time employee for a period of time until we're ready to decide where to go from that. We're interviewing at least one, perhaps two individuals who applied for the full-time slot, and they have to pass physicals. 2 of them have, and so hopefully we're going to be able to make those interviews. So the goal is to be able to get our force up to what's been authorized and try to get the maximum number of people out on the street to minimize the overtime and the impact on the rest of the department. Also to let you know that there now is enough in the department that we can assign a patrolman Lipiak to the detective bureau, so we'll finally have a detective subject to everybody showing up. He obviously pops back onto patrol when needed, but that's part of the overall plan. So things are looking better, and we'll keep you posted.
Thank you, Richard. John?
Yes, good evening. We cut all township properties 4 times. Grass has been phenomenal this year. We haven't gotten a break, and we thought we were going to get a break, and now I'll be back to the same thing. We picked up 70 cubic yards of brush, put out a half a ton of patch for potholes. We started getting ready the 2 ball fields out the Field of Dreams and the Babe Ruth. They play in the fall, so we'll be getting them ready. They're all full of weeds now, and it's very time consuming. We put up 3 street signs, and I don't know if you guys, I probably told you this before, every Monday we pick up 60 cans throughout town. Field of Dreams, and the trash this year has been phenomenal. I don't know why, but it's just every can, every time, it's over full. Brighton Avenue, there's trash bags in it. There shouldn't be trash bags. I mean, household trash bags in it.
Yeah, people are
So,
doing
I mean, it's getting a lot, you know? Finally, we got to the pond in the back, and I brought the new guy out back, the detention pond we had, well, it was only 4.5 foot high. So when we didn't get written up for it, but we finally got that down. I'm starting to get the shade tree work organized. And although this it may look easy, but it's not. It's very difficult to try, because I have to go out and look at every tree individual, and I gotta decipher what they want done. They might say, take a couple here, take a couple there. Then I found trees that's got splits in them, and nobody picked it up. It's like, so I go back and forth, and I try to put it all in order, because the list that I get, I might start down here at Hickory Street, and then next thing you know, the next one is for West Avenue. So I gotta put that in order, so I don't drive up the other end of the town and then come back down and then go. So it takes a little time to get that together, but I'm working on it.
There should be a way, if that's done in Excel, where that could be done alphabetically.
Yeah, we've gotta try to figure, it would just,
districts
would
or
make
something.
things easy, but the fact is, I still have to go out, and then when I get a bidder to come in, I still have to go back out with him.
Right.
And we gotta go over everything, and so it takes a little time to do all this. We started to get, our biggest thing we're doing now is waiting for the screening machine to come in to get our compost cleaned out. We've moved everything to the end of the road so we can screen it, and then, we can get rid of it. But it's a big job to do, to move all the compost, go through the screening machine, then you have to move it to where you're going to stage it. And then once we get it staged, it's easy to get it out, but it takes time. I was out today, I'm meeting Harry, I was out to the Field of Dreams. I found all the sprinkler heads, and I weed eated all around them, and we marked them with flags. So he doesn't have to go out there and try to find these things, because they are a pain in the neck to find. And one of the things I don't know how it could affect it, but when the gold mounts get ruined every year, I think we shifted the field, if I'm not mistaken, just to move out to get the new life to the gold mounts.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think they switch them, yeah.
They just move them over a little bit. And I was just wondering, and I asked Harry, and we're going to look at it tomorrow, whether that's affecting the pattern, because when these fields were designed, they were designed for that area.
Right.
So if you move the field all the way over 10 feet, 15 feet, or whatever, now you're moving the zones, and some zones are not going to get the water that we're getting before. So tomorrow, and there's a lot of heads that are you can see that are buried in the ground, and they're not going up high enough.
So is it because somebody's walking on them?
Well, it could be a lot of things.
The lawnmowers going?
We'll find out.
Is it TLC's job to dig them out?
What's
Is
that?
it TLC's job to dig those heads out? and-
Yeah, well, apparently I'm just getting a little sick and tired of asking somebody to go out and just want to get it done and find out what the problem is, and then
Right.
we can go from there, instead of everybody pointing fingers, because I was out there this weekend with my grandkids, and I heard people complaining how bad the fields look, and they did.
Yeah.
And they truly did, and something's gotta happen.
Something's wrong.
We
Because
spent a
just
lot of money out there, and
Yeah,
it's
just
gotta
a
be
month and a
taken
half
care of,
ago, they looked great.
you know?
We came off a tough week with no rain for the
Yes.
last 2 weeks and blazing sun.
And, I was glad that he didn't cut it. There was balls out there that were getting kicked, and they weren't going from here to you guys, you know what I mean? And it was a shame. But if they'd have cut it, it would have probably burned up more. And you gotta, it's a very delicate process out there to try to not to cut it too low, so then it burns all the way up, you know? You'd rather have a little bit high and thrive it.
John, should you meet with somebody from Del Riv or whoever's switching the soccer fields around to see Is there,
I've already called.
did you, okay,
And then he said that they would send somebody over if I need it. Well, I'm gonna have Harry.
okay, good.
I'm meeting Harry tomorrow, so,
All right, good,
and then we'll go from there.
okay.
And this month will be the last, brush pickup, and that's it.
And what about leaf pickup? When will that start? Because boy, the leaves.
I haven't got last year's leaves out yet.
I know, but.
You see the piles
Do you
of
see
broken
the sycamore trees are,
Ask, call the shade tree up and ask them,
yeah.
what are they gonna do?
Sycamore trees are
And
already.
it's all
there.
sycamore trees,
Yeah.
all sycamore trees.
Yes, those
So-
trees. No more sycamores in Delanco, per John Fenimore.
We do a resolution about
Yeah.
that.
Great trees.
They're dirty
They're
trees.
dirty trees.
Anything else, John?
That's it.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to the consent agenda items. Pardon?
Anything for Beth?
Oh, I'm sorry, Bev, yeah, she has announcements, I'm sorry. Bev.
That's okay. We have a few upcoming events. Delanco's Fall Townwide Yard Sale will be Saturday, September 30th. And we are currently accepting addresses if anyone wants to be on the map. Those are due by September 22nd. The free shredding event that takes place here at the Municipal Building parking lot, that'll be October 7th from 8 to 12 noon. And on the same day, over at the Public Works Garage, we have the Community Cleanup Day, where you can bring tires, electronics, larger trash items, and that's from 7 to 3. They're all posted on the website and on the bulletin boards around town. And then following that, on Saturday, October 14th, will be Delanco's annual Community Day at the Firehouse from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's
Okay.
it.
Thank you, Beth. Now we'll move on to the consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with a single motion. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Payment of bills, current fund, $2,079,788.83. Payroll, $157,941.19. Capital fund, $3,484.76. Dog fund, $1,340. And housing trust, $1,468.50. Approval of minutes for August the 7th, 2023, and approval of the facility use request for Gateway Park for September 24th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Matt and Carolyn, roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Mr. Olet,
Yes.
Ms. Seuss,
Yes.
Mr. Templeton,
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes. Approval of minutes from July 17th, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Carolyn,
Second?
Matt, roll call.
Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Mr. Olet,
Abstain.
Ms. Seuss,
Yes.
Mr. Templeton,
Abstain.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes. Any correspondence, Beth?
No, there is no correspondence, Mayor.
Oh, thank you. Meeting is now open to the public. This is the second session. Anyone from the public have anything to add, discuss, concerns? No? Okay, I'll close this portion of the meeting to the public. And we have a few discussion items. The first discussion item is the pending Penn Advisory Board membership appointments. We've actually had 4 people in town who have already took the online course and passed the test. So we have 4 applicants that are ready to be appointed to the advisory board.
Mayor, I have a question pertaining to the certifications. On the copy that I was emailed or saw, it was a certificate, but it looked like it was just taking like a piece of tape or something and put the person's name in on the certificate, like you could just switch out people's names on the certificate. And it just didn't seem like it was professionally done.
Yeah, that was the last one. Gwen sends a certificate, doesn't have the name on it, but she emails that this person got got it. I don't know why it doesn't have the name on it, but
And Gwen actually sent us.
only the last was the only one that I didn't get in advance.
Email.
I showed you. But none of them have the names actually printed on there. She sent a certificate without, and then they put it in there. But she tells me that they passed it.
They did take the test.
Okay, well, I would like to at least have that on file here at
Yeah, we
Town
will.
Hall. Something professional, that, yes, they took the test, this was their score, and if, you get a certificate.
Rather than score, it's a pass-fail. So if when
Pass.
issues
Pass-fail.
certification, we'll make sure their name is on it in the file.
Okay,
Yeah, every one of them sent it and said, it was emailed to me, and then they added their name to it. That was the way she does it, but I can make sure that it gets done correctly. But Gwen is certified that they have all taken a pass test.
Yeah, she has certified that. And she's certified that by email.
Yes.
I want to see the program be successful, but I want
Right.
us to be professional about this.
All right, we'll make sure that they're on there, but she did certify that they did pass.
So, according to my information, that we have, Suzanne Perez, Lynn Fulton, Mylena is here, and Lynn's husband, I don't have your name. Mike. Those four have taken the course, have passed the test, and we would like to appoint them, or have a discussion regarding appointing them anyway to the Hen Advisory Committee, so we can move forward and have applications available for anyone new who comes on board that would like to have chickens. There's another application out there. I believe Jess Knight is interested and is going to be taking the course. But right now, we have 5 members. Gwen is going to be sitting with us for maybe just until the end of the year as an advisory. She has requested that, and we did ask her to do that. These appointments will be till the end of the year, and then they'll be reappointed next year, since all boards are usually reappointed. And I believe this one's going to be reappointed every year.
Yeah, the ordinance is calendar year.
Yeah, calendar year. So is there any questions other than what Fern raised? Does anyone else have any questions regarding? Everybody in favor of appointing these individuals? They've actually gone out of their way to do this. I commend them and I thank them.
And also, Mayor, I think you had indicated that you want to be the liaison.
I would
Include
be-
that in the resolution, the
Right.
motion that the mayor's going to be the liaison to the Hen Advisory Board.
Yeah, I would be the liaison to the advisory board this year. Carolyn would fill in for me if I can't attend.
And you took the chicken course, or whatever it is?
Yeah, I have to take the test.
So do you need a motion?
Hey, you need a motion and a second to vote?
Yeah. So is there a motion to approve these?
I make a
Five.
motion to approve Suzanne Perez, Mylene Yams Correa, Michael Villano, Lynn Fulton, and Gwen, as well as you, as the liaison to the Hen Advisory Board.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second as names as read.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Mr. Olet,
Yes.
Ms. Seuss,
Yes.
Mr. Templeton.
No. I've objected to this several times when it's been discussed. I didn't believe that this process was routed the right way through. Did not pass through the planning board. Got a bit of a problem with an out-of-town resident being a member here, that's something unique, that normally you have someone who's a member of a board, for whatever reason, moves out of town, they're no longer on that board, and that's been encountered several times.
Can I address that particular comment?
And it just seems, if that's the situation, that maybe, we could have D.R. Horton, a representative from D.R. Horton on the planning board. Or, it's just doesn't smell right.
Actually, it's just until the end of the
shame
year, and we have asked
that it's
her
gone this
when,
way.
because she has
Well-
actually helped 21 municipalities in the state of New Jersey.
Agreed, but
And so we asked her. It's not like she put forth, we asked
Well-
her to just guide us the first
I'm just saying,
couple of months.
it's an unusual situation
Yeah.
with an out-of-town resident being a member, being in an enforcement position, volunteer enforcement position on this committee. So it's just an unusual circumstance, and I question the objectiveness of someone who's an advocate for this process, and really has not listened to some of the opposing views that have been brought up. So
Just on that, we do have a member from other towns on our Economic Development Advisory Board.
Yeah, it's not unusual, but in this particular case, and I really would like to clarify this for the residents, we actually asked Gwen because she's very much involved in the legislation. She has been certified through the state, and she's really an expert. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything the correct way, by the book, and she has helped us. In addition to that, there was almost a year worth of work in doing this ordinance because I personally researched it. Gwen assisted me in some respects in sending me some of the other municipalities, their ordinances, but I also called these municipalities and spoke with their clerks to see how the program worked. Were there any complaints? How many residents actually had chickens or backyard hens? And not one of those clerks that I spoke with, did the residents have any complaints, like the neighbors? And that's really, that would be affected, or your neighbors, mostly. And speaking with our solicitor, it isn't, and maybe Doug may even address that, but it isn't something that needed to go to the Joint Land Use Board. It's not under the Joint Land Use Board law. So am I correct, Doug?
Yeah, this ordinance is a police power ordinance, and it's not a zoning ordinance, which means that if we decide to amend or change, there's no vested rights from a land use perspective. It's just regulatory.
Thank you, Doug. So I just wanted to clarify that since there are several people here tonight, including the residents that actually do have the backyard hens. So I hope everyone understands that what we did was a very thorough job here for the public health and safety of the residents and the chickens as well, believe me.
Yeah, I see no harm and actually appreciate Gwen serving on for the 3 months till the end of the year to assist these residents who haven't ever done anything, specific with policing chickens other than owning chickens. So she's going to guide them, and I think more than anything, she's just kind of a consultant in this scenario. So, this isn't like a long-term thing. It's just for the couple months to get them going, and I appreciate her help with that because she does have many other things going on in her life, so.
Thank you, Carolyn. Okay.
Mayor
Next-
Fitzpatrick, I need your vote.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Status of the Zerbrook Seawall project plan. Harry, I guess that's your...
Yeah, thank you. I sent out an email last week to everyone explaining where we're at with this. Essentially, first off, with the Army Corps, first thing, and I agree with, that they are requesting to do is make 2 separate applications, one for the seawall itself and then one for the boat ramp. There's 2 different permits, there's 2 different processes for each permit. So rather than hold one up or another one up, we'll submit them separately as 2 separate permits. And I think it'll go smoothly that way. In addition, after speaking with Army Corps several times, they're now saying that, well, they've always said that we have to go to no officials. At one point in time, they thought that they may be able to address it since we're only working at low tide and give us an approval. They're now saying they don't feel comfortable with that, so they want to send it to NOAA. And what that is, it's for the Atlantic sturgeon, which is an endangered species on the federal list. With that, the Army Corps and Fisheries only allows you to do work certain times of the year. They put restrictions on what type of piling you can use, the vibrations that can be done, during construction, turbidity, things like that. All that we can address. The only issue is that how that works is we don't submit to NOAA, Army Corps submits to NOAA, and they get approval back to them, and then they issue their approval. He indicated to us that could take several months, a few months. To avoid that, if we, and I sent 2 copies of plans, and hopefully they're legible. And the first plan is what essentially what we approved at past meetings. We submitted that to the Army Corps. The Army Corps came back and said, well, if you do what we call plan number 2 and make that a 45, you don't even need our approval. You won't need fisheries, you won't need Army Corps approval. We'll wait a letter saying you have our jurisdiction and we're going to approval.
And they put that in writing?
That's what they will do, yeah. Because we're out of the jurisdictional line. That's the only part under this new alignment. The only part that's in the jurisdiction is that corner, the south, what I call the south corner. If we that at a 90-degree angle, we have to apply to Army Corps, and again, we're going to send it to Fisheries. So it's a delay. The other issue with that, Army Corps will let us put in steel sheet piles, which we kind of want to do on that, because that takes the front of the wave action, and ice and debris and whatnot. Even if we don't need approval, we can do whatever we want. So we can put in steel sheet piles, and DEP has no problem with steel sheet piles, it's just on the Corps.
What do we do with the street end? Then we do steel?
No, that's fine, that's good.
It's fine, yeah, it's fine.
We got it, that's what it does. Correct, they're not allowing us, but if you looked over the edge of the street end, you'll see wire baskets filled with stone.
Right.
Artificial lines.
And we put those in for 2 reasons, mainly for toe protection, so when the waves hit it, it doesn't undermine the wall, and also gives a little bit more protection from debris and ice floating away. Army Corps will not allow us to do that. Unless we move the whole wall back 3 feet and put them out of their jurisdiction, which we don't want to do. So, in addition, the boat ramp, like I said, that's going to be a different application. We wanted to go out as far as we could, so the emergency vehicles wouldn't get stuck. They're only allowing us to go 3 feet more than the concrete edge. And the reasoning is, at low tide, the water is out 100 yards, 20 yards. So what good is this extra 30 feet that we're proposing? That's the theory. So that we can address in another conversation, because like I said, that's for emergency purposes, and that's the only reason they're going to let us do it. It's just a matter of what they allow us to do. So that's kind of where we're at. We're also with DEP, if we move this, take triangle out as well, this is not official, but we would not have to do mitigation. If you recall where we were going to put the seawall out, any land we took of theirs, any property that we took of theirs, we had to give them back someplace else in town. We probably want the mitigation for that extra area.
Right.
So it's one of those things, it's a tough road to fight, and I know we've been fighting this for a long time, trying to get as much land we can back. But honestly, I think we're to the point We lick our wounds and in reality, we are digging out much better than
Yeah, we had hoped.
than we could have. We're getting quite a bit of them. Also, it takes away, by taking that little piece off, it takes away from the DEP threatened and endangered species issue,
Right.
which shouldn't be an issue because it's freshwater mussels and as Mr. Templeton said before, they don't breed good, they breed low tide. But it's a process you still have to go through and convince them that they're not there. That goes away if you so.
How long have we been working on this project, Harry? About 10, 15 years?
Longer than that. It was back when I was at land, so it's
Yeah.
2008. 2008.
Yeah.
So Harry, so, Plan B per se,
Mhm.
we go from a 90, degree, angle or
Yep.
corner
Yep.
to 45.
Yep.
And then we can move forward and not have to worry about all these.
Correct. We have to worry about Army Corps, we have to worry about fisheries, for sturgeon. We still have to submit to DEP.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an easier process than DEP as well. It also technically takes us out of the Thailand's license. Once this is done, we have to get a Thailand's license from the state. Because the way state looks at it is anything below the high water line is their property. So if you want to build something there, even if it's temporary, you have to pay them, and a lot of waterfront owners here know that, a rental fee essentially, to use what they're considered their property. And that's a yearly fee. Now, it wouldn't be that much because not that much land, but
Right.
we wouldn't have to do Thailand police with this, cutting that 45 off. So it's another minor savings, but it's,
So is there any reason why we wouldn't want to vote to approve this second plan that Harry's come up with? Can we approve this to get moving on this? It's been a long time coming.
Well,
Yes.
I got a couple of comments.
Of course.
He's put a lot of time
I know
since
he has. I
2008
said,
on
of
this.
course. I said, of course. It's okay for him to be smart, but I can't be,
I'm just trying to be respectful.
I know, and so am I, Fern, and he hasn't been very respectful to many people that are here tonight, to members of this township committee. So please, Mike.
Well, on previous conversation, when you were given this, the A plan, B plan, I thought the NOAA fisheries was going to take much longer, 6 to 9 months. And that was kind of what I walked into the meeting tonight about. As you outlined, there's several benefits. Tidelands license, we've worked out a mitigation swap with 200 ash. It seemed to be a good solution. The ironic thing in this whole process is replacing the Zerberg seawall, the old original stone seawall that's been there or was there going back 120, 130 years or so, is long gone. And the state, for many years, objected to us rebuilding on that original location on the state-defined tidelands boundary. And their argument was, whatever fell down, washed away. The new wet spot, as Mr. Fox said, now belonged to the state, even though it was township land going back to 1890, 1900. And the thing that bothered me in dogging this thing for over a decade is that we saw projects around the state, Atlantic City, Cape May, Gloucester, Red Bank, Newark, where seawalls, bulkheads that had fallen down were being rebuilt at those original locations. And our objection in many meetings at DEP, we could never get a straight answer out of DEP why we couldn't do what everybody else was doing. We still haven't gotten that answer. Finally, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we were able to get Assistant Commissioner Vince Mazzai to come down and put eyes on it, and he basically said, WTF, you guys need a seawall here. We got a letter from Mr. Commissioner Mazzai, and now, as Mr. Fox outlined, and in previous conversations, no kidding, going back 10, 12, 15 years with Corps was all happy about this project. Well, in the intervening time that we were going back and forth with people at DEP that were really, as they said it was their policy not to allow us to rebuild at the historic original location. We were trying to work, get some kind of agreement there. We finally got somebody at DEP with enough horsepower to say, you guys can do what you want to do. When we went back to Corps, their rules or their interpretation of the rules has changed, and now we are where we are. So there's a whole evolution here in how we've got to where we are, the frustration in seeing what seemed to be a fair solution for our project to recover the full amount of property in front of the Zerberg for a public park that other communities seem to have been able to accomplish it's just been frustrating, and trying to find the right person at the right place. I jumped the chain down at the Corps of Engineers and talked to the permitting official that Mr. Fox has been dealing with. I talked to his boss. I talked to his boss. I've talked to several people in our community who have expertise in things like this, and it's where we are. So unfortunately, there's a fair amount of ground that the township paid for, Green Acres money, county money, for the original acquisition of the Zerberg property that with this plan we would not be able to recover, actually with both plans. And it would have been nice to get the right angle turn there at the end at Willow Street. That's seen most of the erosion over the years and loss of ground, and that's what we were trying to really recover and get the most back for the town. But unfortunately, I think we're at the point where we've pushed the snowball uphill as far as we can. So that's a little background on the history.
Thank you. So is there a motion to approve this new plan so that we can move forward?
I will move to.
One second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
Mr. Olet.
Yes.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes.
Mr. Templeton.
Reluctantly, yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes. Thank you, Harry.
Okay, we'll get that on the submission, that will go out, probably, early next week.
Okay. Okay, Vine Street Park upgrade, expansion, planning proposal. Does someone from Recreation want to come forward, or did you want me to just read the email? Pardon? Oh, okay. All right, so this is the Vine Street. You want us to approve a plan from Taylor Design, a concept plan?
Bill McFadden, 410 Maple Ave, Delanco, New Jersey. And basically what it was is, after discussion with some of the recreation members, we're looking into reaching out to the Township Committee in reference to applying for the next grant for the Vine Street Park expansion plan. Basically what we need to do, permission for is right now is, I had sent an email in reference to having Steve Bloor and Scott Taylor work on a design. Once that design's done, then we'll look over that park and Rancocas Park, and the possibility of also installing the playground equipment at FOD.
Okay.
So this is like a long-term master plan kind of review, is what it came out.
But we want to start with the next grant that's coming up.
Yeah, so you can be prepared also.
Yes.
Right.
So basically, that's where we're at. We're asking for permission right now
To
to
get
have
concept.
Mr. Lohr work with Scott Taylor.
Okay.
And that's just for Vine Street at this point.
That's it,
Right.
Vine Street, yeah, because we already have.
We already have
it's
the
already
others.
done.
The other ones are done.
And the playground equipment was in a previous plan from Scott Taylor.
Right.
And the Gateway Park addition is already, we already have a concept plan for that.
This gets paid for out of what?
We're, I don't
Well,
know.
first thing you gotta do, in effect, is asking, should we then ask Mr. Taylor to give us a proposal to meet the request of rec, and then based on that proposal, you can decide whether we'll figure out how much it is, where the money would be, the timetable. That's what he's asking, because he can't ask them directly. So he's asking you if you would solicit a proposal from Taylor Design for their proposal, and then rec, and you guys will look at it and decide if you want to move forward. That's the level, right, Phil?
Yes.
Yes.
We had talked at various times about Taylor doing plans for all of our parks.
Yeah.
How about we ask Taylor to give us an estimate on what that series of plans for all those parks? Just, so we know whether we can a la carte it and do each one individually, or,
There are
We
plans
already have a
Yeah.
concept plan.
for all of them.
It goes back a couple years ago when the Eagle Scout wanted to do the park at Grand Cocos.
right?
And then environmental decided they wanted to do it. So then the Eagle Scout chose another
Right.
route as the West Avenue Nature Trail.
Right.
We have that design. That's done.
Right. It's true, that one's done.
We
Right.
have
So what's
every-
left, Phil? What other parks?
Nothing.
Vine Street Park with the plot that the county has given us when they knocked out the building.
That's the only one.
That's the property that we're looking for as far as getting a design done, getting approval to have Steve Dorff work with Scott Taylor to get a design done for submittal to the township, and then if it's approved, then we move forward to submit it into the county.
So there's no other parks a couple years down the road that you want to look into now? I think that's what Mike's trying to say, kind
Yeah.
of do it all now?
There
as a
aren't
group.
any.
We basically, there is, okay?
Well-
We have Super Bowl, but we have no idea what in the world, and what time schedule that's going to be.
Well, that's what I mean. You
But I
have,
thought we had a concept plan for Surbrook, because we did have a
To an
gazebo.
extent, yes, there was a concept.
There's
But that was with a seawall in a different location, so
Right.
it has to be relooked at once Harry
Yeah.
finalizes the location.
We had-
Once the location's complete, but we did have a concept plan.
And then you got
for
200
Surbrook.
Ash you gotta deal with.
so we're not
But
doing,
I don't want to drag our feet and
Right.
tell them next spring.
no, if you're asking Taylor to do one, he can say, okay, for Zerberg, it'll cost this much. For 200 Ash, it'll cost this much. Whatever you're gonna do at Babe Ruth, it'll cost that much. I mean, there's already something, the ink is dry on the Babe Ruth project, so there, you got another one. So it just seemed to bundle it together, and then you can a la carte it, or pick and choose as we go forward. But at least we got something on paper for all of your real estate.
We do, except Zerbrook does have a concept plan, Mike, except until we actually have the work done, we need to see where it actually is. It's already been, how many years, since 2008? Let's wait until we get all the approvals done, but we do have a concept plan for Zerbrook, because it included the gazebo, what have you. We put in for a grant with the county at one time with that, and they wouldn't approve certain things because we didn't have the seawall taken care of.
Did we want to do anything with 200 Ash, or does that remediation have to be done? And
Yeah, that's going to be a little while down the road, so I don't know why we just don't approve.
Well, it's my understanding, and that what Mr. McFadden wants is approval for this one grant.
Yes.
That's gonna go to this one park.
One park with the potential of how much we get, how much the park is, then we'll move on to what we can do concept-wise. We already have plans for Grand Cocos,
Right.
which is a basic, simple, it's mostly concrete that's left in that area besides removing flower bed. Then our next thing would be, if we get enough to cover Vine Street, both parts, and we have extra to do the playground equipment at FOD, then we would combine that. If we get, we're lucky enough to get all the money,
Right.
then we'll go with both programs, the concept plans that we have at Grand Cocos, what Vine Street Park, Steve Lord, and Scott Taylor's design come up with and do all three at the same time.
Okay, so you have
But
a,
basically what I need is the approval to go ahead and start with the design so that this way the Recreation Commission can submit this for this round of grant that's coming in. I
so,
don't want to wait till the last minute.
agreed, because you don't want to lose out on the grant. But I guess my understanding needs to be that, okay, you're applying for the grant, but you have A, B, and C projects that could possibly go to that grant. And then,
If we're fortunate enough.
if we're fortunate enough, but you want to have tailored design, if you already have these plans, review them to upgrade them.
No.
B and C? No?
As far as Vine Street's done, that's a design, the concept is there, that's done.
Vine Street is.
That pro bono, no.
Okay.
Great focus.
Okay,
We
yes.
did that pro bono at the time we did.
Gateway Park.
Okay.
The only thing we do not currently have right now is Vine Street Pocket Park.
That's
The
great.
redesign of the county lane and our lane together.
Well, I'm glad Steve Lohr's involved, because that was his project back in what, 2009? 2008. Another project that goes back 15 years. But he did a great job, and with that, and the volunteers that helped put that together. That was great. So I'm glad to see that you're still involved with.
All we need to do is solicit,
So I would like
we
to-
just want to solicit his
Yes.
proposal.
So I would like
That's
to
all we
make
want
a
to do right
motion.
now.
Yeah.
I would like to
Just
make a
solicit
motion.
proposal.
I would
That's
like to
all.
make a motion that we entertain tailored design to prepare a concept plan for
Solicit a
Vine
proposal
Street-
to present.
A proposal for Vine
Solicit a
Street,
proposal, so we know what it
for
costs.
the new
and it's
addition
time.
to Vine Street Park. I'd like to make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Carolyn. Can we have a roll call, Beverly?
Yes, Mayor. Mr. Bartlett.
Yes?
Mr. Olet.
Yes.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes.
Mr. Templeton.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes. Thank you.
We'll get a letter out to them.
Could I just ask Harry a quick question? The grant that we got from the state for Creek Road field improvements, park improvements, however they have it in the budget, were you able to work on the estimate for the lighting? I know I asked you about that at the beginning of August.
I have not. I have not. So I can get that estimate together for you.
Yeah, it's good.
Uh,
For at least one field.
Yeah, what I'll do is I can give you the, what it would cost for one field, and then cost to add an additional field.
Okay. Great.
Actually, I will do that too.
Thank you.
I suggest Mr. Lohr for working with Mr. Lennon and so forth, Taylor. EAB, Amber Perlmutter and Liz Mattisette and Bill Madalevich, along with Mr. Fennemore's Public Works crew, have been maintaining that, and as far as weeding and stuff. And then actually, they've been putting some plants in there. So you might want to consult Amber or Liz as far as plant types or things that might work.
Have you seen the last one? Yeah.
Thanks.
Can I bring up one other thing?
Sure.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, we're still on the agenda items,
Oh, I
right?
thought we were. Oh,
No, we're not done yet.
oh.
But
No,
certainly.
go ahead. Let's finish this up.
Okay. This is the municipal membership for Burlington County Regional Chamber of Commerce next. And I think that's you, Matt.
It was just an email we got from them after attending the event over at RCDC. They wanted to know if we wanted to
To join.
join as a member.
At one time, they actually had free membership to municipalities because
Yeah.
I remember attending when the membership was free. And I think now it looks like it's $300.
$300, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see much of a benefit to us, but that's why I brought it here for all of us to review. I'm not entirely sure what they can do for little Delanco, but if the $300 is worthwhile.
Well, does anybody have any comments on it, or you just want to think about it and look into the chamber and see what they could possibly do? I I did enjoy attending your meetings, but we didn't have to pay then, so it's a budget item, I guess, Richard.
It's like when you get invited for dinner, you enjoy it more when someone else is paying.
Exactly. So anyway, does anybody have any comments about that?
There's no particular due time or anything. so-
No.
Yeah, you can jump
Okay,
in
so it's
anytime.
something,
Yep.
yeah, something we may want to consider in our next budget round. How's that?
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
They have, what, monthly meetings or quarterly meetings, or?
Honestly, I have
They usually
no
have
idea.
they usually have monthly meetings.
meetings.
It's every once in a while they may have a special event.
Yeah, they had the special event at RCBC that they invited mayors and deputy mayors to last month. It was a decent turnout, and they had some folks from Joint Base over there.
Yeah, they have.
Not that we have time for more meetings.
Yeah.
So much time. You're retired, folks, maybe you can.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not retired. Okay, so we'll consider that. We can put that in one of our budget requests if we decide to do that. And Fern, you had another item you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, I believe it was the last meeting, and Mr. Fenimore wasn't here, and this would probably impact his department the most, but again, taking a look at next year's budget and personnel, but start getting some of the curbing, the street ends that need to be painted yellow to indicate no parking areas. Just start taking a look at what we would need to do to have that happen next year. And again, I call it lot striping, but street striping of the crosswalks that we have in town.
Yeah.
Got your paintbrush, Fern?
Yeah,
I did parking lots at the restaurant, so,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's more fun if you have the right toys to do it.
the county should complete Burlington Avenue sometime. I know they just did those two that I had requested, the crosswalks at
Yeah, I haven't heard.
Lou's Deli. Yeah, I'll email Joe again to see when they plan to do the other on Burlington Avenue. But as far as our other walks, Newton's Landing has several as well. Is there some way that we can get an estimate from some contractor so that we can have that for our budget discussions?
Yeah, we're actually working on that. We're getting proposals
Oh, okay,
to
good.
do Newton's Landing crosswalks as well as the no parking out at,
River's Edge, okay. And then there may be a few in town that we may need, I don't know, like, that aren't on Burlington Avenue. In your travels, maybe you'll,
Yeah, we're trying to keep it under the bid threshold.
Okay.
Because it's cheaper in a lot
All
of
right,
ways.
good.
So if we get these done first and then we can move on to more later on, we can
Okay.
do better.
They're the most important right now, so we'll have that soon, so we can see,
Yep.
number one, if we have anything that we can do this year.
Yes, we actually sent out to one contractor, and waiting for pricing then, and we're sending out to two more.
Good.
This week.
Okay, because maybe we can get some of that done this year, it would be nice if we have some extra funds.
That's the plans to do those this year.
Okay.
I believe it's in the budget, to do Newton Landing and River's Edge.
Okay,
And then
good.
next year, I agree, there should be some type of line item. in the
Right.
budget for,
Yeah, that we budget for each year.
We have a lot of stop line that we gotta do.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
about the tree cutting in Newton's Landing? Are we still looking for a quote for that? Is there something we can put in next year's budget?
For what?
To tree the Newton's Landing, to cut the trees back? We were gonna reach out to Top Notch for a quote?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for his.
Okay. Yeah, you may want to give them a nudge on that, and maybe ask somebody else besides Top Notch. Maybe Paul will do it.
Paul already gave me a price.
Oh, did he? Okay. All right, good.
To Fern's point on the curb painting, maybe you could reach out to Andy in Riverside, because they have a machine that paints the curbs.
Yep.
I think we saw them doing that over when we were.
Do a shared service?
Yeah, do a shared service with them. They did it like this in 2 seconds.
Yeah, they have a truck, right?
Yeah, I believe it was a truck that just has a line painter on it, and they had it in front of Walmsley Field done right before, was it opening day or something?
Yeah, they did the
had-
whole street in
Yeah.
10
I'm like,
minutes.
yeah.
Yeah. The
See, it's fun when you have the right toys.
I don't know if Doug is aware of this or not, but I remember when we were talking about this how far you have to park from a stop sign.
Yeah.
Like it was, the state says 50, but our ordinance said 30, and then we actually added some in front of the ice cream bar and Lou's Deli because of sight views coming from Riverside. So, from what I understand, we can actually change the ordinance on some of our side streets. It doesn't have to be 50, it could be 30 or 20, because we have parking issues. So if we paint back to like some of them, say, I'm going to use Maple Avenue as a good example, because Mr. Rossi came in here, he got a ticket for parking, probably not quite 50, but it was at the end of his property.
Right.
And he's been parking there for probably 50-some years. And so can we change that ordinance? Because
So typically, the state would be a minimum. I could take a look at it, Harry. I don't know if you've seen any amendments that would address that, but
Yeah, you really have to, as Doug said, use the state's minimum. And
Okay.
you have the right to increase that, depending on some tribal issues and whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, you can't really go that sort of state.
you can't decrease it, okay, because I thought, yeah.
But the 15 or
The
20
50
feet?
seems like
It's 25
unreasonable.
feet?
They said it was 50.
No, I believe it's
They
25.
ticketed him for 50.
and the other thing is that maybe there's some variation depending on the type of street it is. If it's a county road, for example, it's X, and if it's
Yeah.
local, it's Y, so
Okay.
we could look at it a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to look into that, because I think 50 feet is a little bit much.
It is.
Yeah, it's not right.
It's
I don't-
not reasonable. Okay, all right, so when we get into painting, we'll check that out too to make sure. All right,
Thank you.
anyone have anything else? Okay, anyone from the public? I know everybody's here. Ray, you want to come up and have a few words?
Ray Weber, 22 Ships.
Hi, Ray.
Towns, how you doing? You all doing? Down the shore, along the coast, North Wildwood, you're down to 10 feet in parking on the corners, and 5 feet if it's on the side.
Oh, on the side.
So that, where you're allowed to park because of parking issues. But they are not, that's all within the town. They are not county roads or anything else. So I just wanted to bring that up to you because I know Avalon, Sea Isle, North Wildwood Crest, they all have that same type of thing going along there, so.
Yeah, I kind of agree that it's, when you have the parking issues that we have in Delanco,
Yeah,
it shouldn't be 50, maybe even 25 is a bit, but,
I says that you're down to 10 feet
yeah.
and 5 feet for the right-hand side coming in. So I just wanted to bring that up and let you know, there's other towns that have done that and stuff, so, and they're not county roads.
Thank you, Red.
Thank you.
Mayor, back to the trees of Newton's Landing. Is there a way to get on the state contract for that?
No, there is no state contract.
I don't know what you
There's
mean,
not a state contract for tree removal or tree
Not
cutting?
for something like that.
No, not
Big,
that I know.
big tree, you can get, there's a contractor might do big tree removals, but not for what we're talking about.
What are you talking about, contracting it?
For, you know, tree
I
elevating.
went with it, I looked into that, and what they do, they charge you for the bucket truck, they charge you for the dump truck, then they charge you for the hourly rate.
And they charge
So
you
the time
So it's more expensive in the long run?
Yeah,
You
probably.
just gotta get
I
them,
don't really know.
get them to get us the numbers so we can make a decision
It
go
just-
on.
You know, they charge for everything.
So what do we need? We need 3 estimates, John? has
Theoretically
one?
3, but we've got one, we need at least one more. So
Okay.
we've been
All right.
just waiting for top notch.
So if
So
you
we
want
can
me
make
to
a
reach
decision.
out, let me
Just
know.
remember, we also got a lot more in town now that is really growing up all over.
All over, yeah.
And, so,
So we need to do sections at a time, and we need to plan for that in our budget as well. But yeah, if you want me to reach out to Top Notch, I will.
no, I'll handle it.
Okay, all right. Okay, anyone else? Okay, how about a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Matt?
I'll second.
Carolyn seconds that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.